just decentralize. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No thanks, no fee.
Alrighty, let's kick this thing off. Surfers, good morning from paradise. My name is Crypto Amaru, joined as always by Nick the Crypto Hitman. It is Thursday, January 22nd. We got a wonderful slate of stories for you guys as always. Some news, analysis, fun banter. That's how we roll here at Crypto Paradise. Why don't we start with this? The GDP numbers are in and things are looking good for the U.S. economy. Who'd have thunk it? Trump's policies actually made a difference. Wow, what a thought. Greenland FUD, as we predicted, resolved and done. We didn't go to World War III over Greenland, guys. Wow, what a surprise. And Trump tacoed, as he likes to do. It's all negotiation. It's all negotiation tactic, and I think it worked wonderfully because it looks like we're getting those bases that we wanted on Greenland. We'll probably get the minerals too, so win-win. We'll talk about whether all this means the bull market can recommence. Because we were in a one-week bear market, weren't we, Nick? That was not fun. 1 week of Trump-induced FUD, and now that seems to be over. So I don't know where you want to start. GDP, Greenland, charts.
Yeah, I guess I'll pull up. We'll talk about GDP briefly, and then we'll go to Bitcoin and Ethereum because the charts really haven't reflected the GDP announcement or the Greenland announcement just yet, at least in the short term. But yeah, breaking, U.S. GDP came in at 4.4%. The expected was 4.3%. Another win for the Trump USA economy. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's going to help interest rate cuts, or do you think it's going to help markets? What do you think it all means?
Well, I do not think it's going to lead to an interest rate cut. They would cut rates to help the economy. The economy is looking pretty decent. So, you add to the fact that inflation's above their 2% target, at least with the data they look at, not the actual real-time data that we look at, but the lagging data they look at, it's over 2%. Okay, so you got that strong-ish economy. The labor market's looking better, I guess you could say. I really think the immigration policies have a lot to do with it too, right? Because if you remove a lot of people who otherwise may be looking for jobs and on those unemployment rolls, that helps the numbers. So, there's a lot of complexity that goes into it, but overall, happy to see the economy doing halfway decently. Don't think the cuts happen. I think the markets can still do well in this environment, though. I think we're gonna resume our steady grind up on the S&P 500, on hopefully Bitcoin as well and Ethereum. So we can get to that in a bit, but overall, I'm feeling positive, feeling good.
Yeah, here's the Bitcoin chart. You can see we sold up here. We had buys here. We still have 33% left that we could buy on Bitcoin. This is probably an area you'd want to take a stab. You see how oversold we were on the RSI and the technometer? We are bouncing off the uptrend line. Obviously, with some good macro news today on the GDP beat, we'll talk about Greenland and some other things. Price isn't surging or recovering here. That's because there's still uncertainty. Remember, we were just at $98,000 on the 15th of January, a week ago. Big sell-off. Consistent sell-off, no relief rallies, and then we wicked as low as 87, and we bounced as high as 90. We were sitting here at 89.5 at the important uptrend line here and still sitting in this bullish formation. So moment of truth, we'll see what happens. As you can see on the relief rally, what did we do? We got rejected at the moving averages. If you want to know what these moving averages I use a lot, it's the 200 moving average and the 300 moving average. Those are the ones that seemingly work the best on crypto. Last cycle, it was really the 100 and the 200. So it does seem like we get less and less volatility, less and less upside with each cycle. But also you need to use longer and longer MAs to get as good of readings and bounce levels. That's why we have extended from the 100 to 200 last cycle to the 200 and 300 this cycle. We'll see. We'll use it until it stops really working for us, and then maybe one day we'll have to switch to 300 and 400. But again, that comes with age of this industry and the volatility dampering of the industry as well. The 200 moving average is still a standard in traditional stocks, so maybe this will remain a standard here for Bitcoin as well.
I think what you're seeing in the chart is reflecting the push and pull between those who still think the 4-year cycle is intact. There's plenty of people who think we're going to break down lower. And the people who are looking to buy the dip, right, because they believe in this asset over the long term. We need to get some resolution here. I mean, we either need to break down or we need to break up out of this range. And then we'll know whether, 4-year cycle is still a thing or not. But there's plenty of bears out there that I think are still getting rinsed. They're rinsing the bears. Anytime we see a relief rally get sold into, because there's just still enough people, I guess, who don't really believe we're going higher yet. they'll come FOMOing back in here. They'll FOMO back in once we break above 100K or higher. But for now, it's a Bulls versus Bears fight, and it looks like it's a draw presently.
Ethereum looking very similar here, sitting on this uptrend line below 2,957. You know we want to get above that $3,000 mental barrier. This one did fall short of the moving averages, so Bitcoin rallied to the moving averages. Ethereum would have needed to rally to 3,100, only made it to 3,000 yesterday. Fell a little short. Let's see if it can catch itself, hold itself in this bullish formation, and mark a major low. This one from the green arrows, we'll show you this chart where our buy was when we were live. Here it is. Our buy is right around $2,729. We're at $2,960 here, trying to change momentum and morale. We saw the moving average break. That was really getting things going. We were even ramping up, got as high as $3,500. And then Greenland FUD, tariff FUD, and the Fed FUD all kind of happened. Supreme Court didn't rule on the tariffs either yet, which is another headwind for us. So nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing really changed since yesterday. Besides, we do have bullish macros with the GDP beat, and we do have some bullish macros with Greenland and coming out of Davos, but the markets right now aren't doing all that much.
First of all, want to give a shout out to all the viewers. Jump onto our YouTube if you want to get involved in the conversation. Good morning, AJ. Good morning, Martin. AJ bought the dip. Good for you, bud. Good for you. I mean, look, if your time horizon's long, prices are undervalued. I think there's really no question in my mind. Could the 4-year cycles be right? We end up in a bear market in a few months? Maybe. I don't give it a high probability of happening, but it could happen. So, just bear that in mind as always. But I think buying the dip historically always worked very well for me. So, at least when we were talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum buys. Random altcoins, perhaps different. But glad for you. Hopefully you're going to hodl on here. Expect volatility, expect the unexpected, but long term you should be good. Yeah, man, Greenland worked out just like we said it would. We were on this stream just the other day saying, what's going to happen with Greenland?
Couple days, yeah.
Yeah, a couple days we've been talking about this. We say, what's going to happen with Greenland? Trump is going to bluster, bloviate, threaten this, that, the other thing, scare the Europeans, bring everyone to the negotiating table, and then he's going to announce on Truth Social, victory! We got what we wanted. We got the bases, we got the rare earths, go America. And lo and behold, that exact tweet came out on Truth Social yesterday. I don't know, maybe you can pull it up.
I'm trying to
literally, that exact thing happened. And surprise, surprise, no World War III. We're getting what we wanted in Greenland. Everyone's saving face. Trump looks like a winner, and the markets can go up again.
I don't have Truth Social, so I was hoping somebody would have posted on Twitter, but I'm not seeing it here. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened there. We'll see what, that's not fully resolved. There's still going to be some other stuff going on. But he made it pretty clear, like, hey, you guys can either negotiate with us, we can make this work. Technically, we've been trying to buy or own Greenland for hundreds of years. Also, we actually owned it, what was it, World War I or World War II, and then gave it back. So it's like, that was dumb. And now we're just trying to utilize the land and help the people there for security reasons and for rare earth metals. He kind of pushed on the Davos thing that it isn't about rare earth metals really at all. There's rare earth metals everywhere. Yes, it would be nice to have it, but it's more for security of the globe and security of Northern America. So you can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't really care. But nonetheless, Crypto Amaru, you're pretty spot on. He said a couple days there'll be resolution. And what do you know? Went to Davos, talked about it, and now he's posting about resolution.
Yeah, it was obvious it was going to play out this way. I feel bad for anyone who is reacting to Trump's tweets and making investment decisions based on what Trump says day in, day out. That is a losing strategy, guys. Do not buy in a moment in time. That is a very foolish thing to do. Just understand how he operates, art of the deal. This is what it is. Come in with some big, grand demands, aiming high with your negotiations and then, working down from there. So that's what happened. I think the Greenland story is going to kind of recede into the background, and we'll get another, story coming out of the administration or somewhere else that we'll all glom onto next week, and the markets should be able to recover.
Yeah, and the last thing we're going to talk about Greenland here is just try to get your guys' math straight. So this is what is going on Twitter a lot, trending. So citizens of Greenland can get $100,000 each. Americans, maybe $2,000, sounds legit. But you have to keep in mind what is going on, what are the size of these countries. There's only 56,000 Greenlanders on that whole landmass. That doesn't even fill most of our football stadiums. Literally, the college football championship that we just had 100,000 college football fans. Many of you watching this probably didn't even tune in. That is more than double the Greenlanders. Somebody replied to me and said, that's the same as giving every American $15,000. And then you're like, holy shit, we are getting shafted until you actually run the numbers. He's off by a few zeros. I told him that. It's actually the equivalent of you receiving $15 from Donald Trump. That's what the equivalent of 100K for the Greenlanders is, just due to population. So, yes, it would be nice to get 100 grand if you're an American citizen, but due to population size, the amount of money that they would spend if they bought Greenland and gave everybody 100K is equivalent to you getting, a Subway sandwich nowadays. So, you got to keep things in perspective when we're talking about these numbers. And if you're going to comment about it on a social platform, at least run the numbers. Here's two idiots, back to back, sounding like idiots. It took me all of 3 seconds. What is U.S. population? What is Greenland population? Greenland population times 100,000 divided by U.S. population, $15. Not that hard, guys, all right? That's it for Greenland. But, yeah, I wouldn't mind $2,000 when it comes to that because, remember, if every American gets $2,000, that is a much bigger deal than every Greenlander getting $100,000.
And I don't think it's going to happen anyway. I don't think we're going to end up buying it. $700 billion, if everyone gets 100,000. It's not good politics, honestly. Like, these guys, their math is way off. I that's obvious. But you can kind of see the resentment setting in from the populace.
And that's what they'll run with because, they don't know how to do math. I guarantee CNN would post that tweet and talk about it live and not run the math. And the thing is, then they would fix it. They would fix it at a later date because maybe there's somebody with a brain cell over there. But it doesn't matter. When you're talking anything about news or politics, it's always first impression. The headline is what people remember. They don't ever go do their own due diligence or look for a revised headline. That's why the news channels do it, because they know they can get away with it. They can always take things back, but it doesn't matter. The damage has already been done. When the people see that headline, that's what they're going to run with. That's what they're going to talk about until somebody makes them look silly on a social platform.
Apparently, we got some audio issues. Hopefully, those are resolved. But I do want to give a shout out to the listeners and the watchers. You guys are having great conversations here. Slow and steady, $20 a week. What a great time to DCA from Dovakin. First of all, what's up, Dovakin? Happy to have you on the stream, my friend.
DCA is very powerful. We actually have a community member that started with $5 a day for the entirety of the bear market, and arguably, maybe that's still going on because alts haven't done anything. But for the past 3 years, just $5 a week. That's it. $5 a week. You can all find $5 a week somewhere. And now, he's playing with thousands of dollars. Has a pretty good PTGC position. He's in the surf DAO, which means he has over 200,000 surf. I think he has 400,000 surf. He made it to the FRM DAO. He's building up positions to take trades on altcoins like we have. Fuck 9 to 5. EMIT farming, hex positions, all these different things just from $5 a week. And you're not going to get rich overnight. It's going to take a lot of time, but $5 a week, he's educating himself and he's putting that to work. And now it's grown to thousands of dollars. And when we give trade ideas, he was able to swing at those with meaningful amount of capital.
Yeah, man, you can't go wrong with the weekly DCA, especially when Bitcoin is highly undervalued right now. Or Ethereum, I don't know what you're DCAing into exactly. Hopefully it's blue chips, right? You want to start with the blue chips and then kind of branch out from there where you can get more risk on. But I don't know if you have the tweet about the ISM. I don't know if I shared that with you yesterday. But we talk a lot about the ISM, the business cycle, and Bitcoin's never been on a proper bull run, a parabolic bull phase, when the ISM is under, I believe, 50. The ISM has been under 50 for like 3 or 4 years. So it's really just a matter of time before the economy picks up, business cycle picks up, more money starts flowing into the economy, people get risk on again, and Bitcoin goes on a parabolic run. And you will be very happy that you DCA'd $80 a month or whatever your total is, because we're undervalued. You're going to make money. You're going to make money on that DCA, man. So good for you. Keep it up. Very smart decision.
Here's the ISM. We've talked about this in the past, but for newcomers or if you just want to see an update on it, ISM at 47.9. And you're talking about we've been below 50 for a record long number of times. And why does the ISM really matter when it comes to Bitcoin? Because we can look at this. And since right here is kind of the last 3 cycles of Bitcoin. This was a bull market for Bitcoin, and then we topped in 2013. Look where the ISM topped. This was the bull market right here. 2015, 2016, 2017 for Bitcoin. When did we top? For those of you who are OGs, when did we hit 20K?
2018, beginning. Very beginning.
Exactly. So there's the top on ISM. Look, ISM is topping starting in June of 2017 and fully topped out by August of 2018. We topped right here in the middle at the Pico high, 62, right at the last top. And then last cycle, what do we have here? 2020, when did we top? Look at this. ISM topped in February of 2021. If you remember, that's when we had full euphoria in the altcoin cycle, and that's where we had the second top of Bitcoin at $69,000. Now look at the ISM here. We had 126,000 though, Nick. Yeah, and ISM barely got to 50. We haven't had any expansion. The last three bull markets also, you have expansion in the ISM for each bull market. This one, not only did we get contraction, we have not even reverted to the mean and put in the top on the ISM above the historical moving averages here. So for me to believe that the business cycle is over, meaning that the Bitcoin cycle is over, means that really America and everything is falling apart, because look at this. We couldn't even get above the 200 and 300 moving average for the historical data of the ISM, much rather getting expansion like we have the past three cycles.
Yeah, we know without a shadow of a doubt that this is what dictates the price of Bitcoin, guys. So just hang on to your hats, be patient. We need the Fed to lower rates. We need to see continued strength in the American economy. We need to see businesses hiring again, investing again. Everyone's a little bit standoffish, a little trepidatious. I think due to tariffs and just uncertainty, we need to get some resolution around these things, and then businesses will be back in action, back investing. We should see some expansion of the business cycle. Risk assets will go up. So just be patient. I know it's been tough. It's been freaking 4 years, 4 years seemingly since we've had anything happening in altcoins. And it's frankly miraculous Bitcoin went to 126K in that environment. So just imagine what happens when there's QE, businesses are expanding, and ISM's grinding higher. Bitcoin's highly undervalued right now, guys. I can't wait for everything to come to fruition. What do we got here? A little bit of a headwind coming in here. What's this?
Yeah, this is one of the things that's probably not helping the market either. Riffa Crypto in the house. Hey guys, good morning, fam. I love that you put the little palm tree in there. Shout out to you. That's probably a surf holder. Get on Pulse Chain. Go buy 200,000 surf or more. Get in the Dow. You won't regret it later. That $500 investment now will be worth multiples of thousands just if Pulse Chain does a 2 or 3x. Just a little tidbit there. But yeah, new crypto bill likely delayed until late February or March as Senate panel pivots to Trump housing push, Bloomberg sources. Now, I don't think a pivot really slows this down. Everybody's really been talking about, hey, this needs to be done by Q1 of 2026. Both February and March are still Q1 of 2026. Charles Hoskinson went on a big rant saying, hey, we need a little revision to the crypto bill, and we need it to be passed in Q1 of 2026 before there's any types of elections, just in case the Democrats win power, and then that would be utter catastrophe for this bill. And so that's why I'm not really that worried. We're near the end of January, but if they're talking about late February or March, that's still Q1. Like we have thought that this would happen. We never said, hey, this is going to be signed by January. We just said, hey, Q1 2026, probably when it gets signed. More interest rate cuts in Q1 2026, and those headwinds become tailwinds, rapidly expanding the price of Bitcoin and other crypto assets.
You got to be a little skeptical of Bloomberg's reporting, a notably liberal media outlet, anti-crypto leanings for a while. I know they have a crypto show. I think they reluctantly did that recently, but I take everything Bloomberg says with a bit of a grain of salt, first of all. Second of all, the two sides are still working. The banks and the crypto companies, aka Coinbase, are still negotiating, hashing things out. Okay, the bill could have been passed, by the way, 2 weeks ago, but Coinbase pulled their support over the stablecoin interests and things and other sort of clauses that they didn't like. The two sides are still working together. This is still a major priority of Trump and the administration. I would not be surprised if Trump steps in, say this doesn't get resolved in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Trump steps in and basically strong arms this thing through.
Yeah, and Trump isn't done talking about this, because part of his Davos speech, he literally talked about crypto and Bitcoin, which is pretty crazy to think. I thought it was nuts when I was in Nashville for Bitcoin 2024 or whatever it was, that the future president of the United States, former president, was there. His vice president candidate was there. Michael Saylor was there. Vivek Ramaswamy was there. All these people were there talking about Bitcoin. And now on arguably the biggest stage in the world, Davos, he's there reiterating, even with Bitcoin price down, he's not fading away from it. Even with Ethereum price down, he's not fading away from it. It's not just about a popular choice now, or, hey, those prices are going higher, so he's going to act like he's part of it. In the face of red candles, when most people are done switching from crypto to silver, like the Hex Bull, we have Trump out there on the biggest stage with all the most powerful people saying, hey, we know you like crypto, we like crypto, and we're going to be the crypto capital of the world in the United States, whether you like it or not. If you guys aren't participating in it because you have TDS or you're saying I'm making money on it, well, you're just going to fall further behind on the global stage, and we'll see how those countries react as well. But that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, man. But he hasn't... actually entered those negotiations, I think, in a meaningful way yet. So they still have that, let's call it Trump card to play, where he can step in and just strong arm the banks, strong arm Coinbase, and be like, guys, you're making this happen. You're doing this. You're compromising here. You're capitulating there, and we're signing this damn deal. He hasn't really stepped in yet. And so, look, I have full confidence this is going to get passed in Q1. And I'm not even of that mindset that if it doesn't get passed, well, then it's never getting passed, like Charles Hoskinson suggesting it'll never get passed if it doesn't have. It's going to get passed. This is a priority of the administration. Since when does Trump want something and it doesn't happen? Guys, ask yourself that. He's out there kidnapping dictators. Okay? You don't think he can pass a bill between the banks and Coinbase? Like, get your head checked, guys. Get your head checked. You think it's going to happen. So I'm not worried. I don't think we see like a deluge of capital flowing in up until, it gets passed. So if anyone's thinking like, oh, we're going to see like trillions flowing in tomorrow, like, no, I don't think so, guys. We got to be a little bit more patient. And frankly, once it gets passed, it probably isn't going to happen the next day anyway with all the money flowing in. It's going to be a years-long process. But, hey, if you're not here in this space with a 10 to 20-year time horizon, you ain't going to make it anyway.
That's not exciting though. We need to get that alpha going, the short-term trades going, but the market situation right now just isn't fit for that. That's why we're giving you macro outlooks. That's why we're giving you update on the news. That's why we're giving you charts on the large caps or maybe a couple alts that we're in, and we're not really finding gems or day trades or DeFi yield because the market just isn't positioned for that. And if you go chasing that, maybe you can hit here and there. But for all the one or two that you're seeing on the Twitter feed, there isn't many. There is hundreds and thousands of tokens being launched and just getting rugged currently in the open market because there just isn't liquidity. Now more than ever, there's just a shuffle and regurgitation in the degen trenches of people just trying to make any kind of gains on the daily that are trying to live off these trading gains on a daily basis as well. Let's continue to look on chain here. What do you think about this, Crypto Amaru? We got two posts here that talk about on-chain data. One is for Binance and Bitcoin, and the other is for Ethereum.
Yeah, look, there's been this narrative that whales have been selling. Whales have been selling to the tune of billions, and there is a lot of truth to it. We know without a shadow of a doubt, we've seen that on chain, that there's certain whales that have woken up after 10 years, 13 years, 14 years, with billions that they're selling. And you know what? That's their prerogative. Good for them. They had more patience and more conviction than basically anybody else, and now they've changed their lives and they've changed their families' lives for generations. Good for them. I hope one day we can all be so lucky. But that's only one part of the story, because there is another cohort of whales that are not selling, and in fact, they're actually buying. They're actually buying. So I'm not really too worried about the rotation any longer. I know that was kind of a story at the end of the year, and we were at 100K. There was a lot of whales coming online selling. The stories have become less and less, and it looks like the majority now are back buying or at least hodling.
Yeah, essentially, Binance, at least on Binance, one of the biggest exchanges, there's a shift in the whales. They are no longer selling aggressively. They're either hodling or buying. And historically, when the smart money pauses the selling and just hodls, that's because A, they're looking for higher upside, or B, they think there's going to be a pivot for some kind of V-shaped recovery that they could sell into. Even if it's a relief rally, that means higher as well. So the on-chain analysis of Binance is there and looks pretty good. And why does Binance matter? Well, it's one of the biggest, but also it's the one that was the culprit, apparently, of the massive liquidity crisis we saw in October. So seeing what these guys are doing matters a lot, because remember, if market makers and Binance themselves had to step in to kind of fill the gap, they were upside down on their books and their AUMs, which means they were the ones selling into all the rallies, trying to make sure that their businesses didn't go to zero. So if they're done selling over there, maybe everything is shored up, maybe the market makers are about to come online again, and maybe the next wave of retail can send prices higher. The other on-chain analysis I wanted to look at is this one. This one I'm not so sure about. Now, the data is the data, but we'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on it here. Bullish, Ethereum transactions are skyrocketing now at an all-time high while fees are at historic lows. And my thought is with this, it's kind of wild to see that because Twitter is dead, retail is dead, the trenches are dead. So who is making all these transactions, and are these even real transactions? What are your thoughts, Crypto Armor?
Stable coins, stable coins, stable coins, stable coins. we've had kind of our iPhone moment in this industry. People don't want to accept it, but the best product market fit for crypto outside of Bitcoin as a better store of value than gold is stablecoins. Essentially instant transactions of the best fiat currency, and I put air quotes around that because it's still fiat. Instant worldwide global transactions, no KYC, hits your account in seconds, paying basically no fees at all. This is the iPhone moment of crypto, guys. I know we want to say it's trenches and pump fun and perps markets, and no, that's just for the gamblers out there. For the actual average everyday person, stable coins are the most, let's call it, product market fit ready aspect of this entire industry. So it's stablecoin transactions. I'm very happy to see fees low. This is wonderful. Who remembers when a Ethereum transaction was $50?
Oh, shit.
You know,
$110.
6 years ago.
I think the highest I ever paid for an Ethereum transaction was like $110, and I think we still made money on that altcoin trade. But that was peak. First of all, we've had upgrades since then, so it's not just the transactions that did that, but it was retail euphoria, altcoin euphoria, where you're doing the cost analysis of, hey, should I buy this myself, and should I recommend my private group or the Surf DAO or anybody else buy? And it's like, wow, it was worth it. You know, you put $1,000 in, you're already 10% behind. Plus, you know, you got to sell it, but the thing went up 60%. Hey guys, we're taking profits, but due to your fees, maybe you only made 40% instead of 60. It was still crazy times for altcoins, crazy opportunities everywhere. Now, I think the fees and transactions are low here, or the fees are low here because of these upgrades. These transactions probably are stable coins. I don't think that these types of transactions play as meaningful of a role on Ethereum price. Number one, anybody can look at the chart and agree with me there. But number two, although it has a transaction fee and some of that is getting burnt, it's not the type of transactions that are really pumping Ethereum, because again, you don't need to own Ethereum for these stablecoin transactions. Really, you can own $10 worth with the fees being so cheap. I feel like when these transactions are this high and it's retail altcoin developers, that really helps the price more, because that every project that is being built there, every FOMO trade that is being built, every altcoin that is being chased needs that alternative Ethereum for its liquidity pool, which means that projects are going to be buying $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 worth of Ethereum off the open market to pair it with their new altcoin that is doing well. And as that price goes up, it's dragging Ethereum price up as well. Stablecoin pricing does not really jump up. The liquidity for stablecoins is already there. You know, new users of it really aren't adding liquidity in terms of ETH. So the only impact these transactions are really having is the small transaction fee, which right now is 1 penny or 10 cents per transaction, versus actually needing that LP or Ethereum holding at the core.
Yeah, those are all good points. I mean, I wouldn't expect these stablecoin transactions to show up in the price of Ethereum in the here and now. But what it does do is it further entrenches Ethereum as the preeminent blockchain, the blockchain that average everyday users are going to ultimately flock to, the blockchain that Wall Street's going to fully get behind, invest in, and build products around. It basically means Ethereum has won from the standpoint of, like, let's just call it your average everyday crypto user, not your degen. I think degens are over on Solana. But yeah, Ethereum, this just entrenches it further. So overall, it's positive. It's a long-term story. You're not going to see it in the price of ETH. ETH isn't going to pump up until we get risk on in the regular financial markets. Maybe we can talk about the Russell 2000 doing well in a bit here, but I do want to give a shout out to our boy Dovakin. Appreciate you jumping into the stream, by the way. New listener, new follower. See, we keep working hard. We keep showing up every day. We get new people. What a thought. Biggest gas cost, $60. Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny looking back at that time, right? Because I did not bat an eye at that time, spending 60, 50, you know, whatever. It was worth it. And you also had so much. I mean, hopefully you had made so much during, you know, that previous, let's call it 4 to 6 months or ever crazy bullish bull market, that, like, what was $60? You had a couple $100,000 sitting in a wallet. You know, it was $60. Who cares? Like, you know, I got rich overnight. Obviously squandered a lot of it. A lot of lessons there. We don't necessarily go into that now, but point is, we were all feeling rich. $60 didn't feel like much. Now I'm like, holy shit, gas is $1. I think I'll wait for it to get. I think I'll wait for price to go down and do a transaction later today.
Too funny. Yeah, let's talk about risk on and Russell 2000 here. This is an interesting tweet here and something that we talk about. We look at the NASDAQ a lot. We look at the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. We don't really look at the Russell 2000 too much, but breaking, well, nothing new here. The Russell 2000 just hit an all-time high of 2,700 for the first time in history. Everything else went to new all-time highs besides Bitcoin, pretty much. The Russell is up 9% in the first 21 days of 2026, clearly showing a rotation of money into high-risk assets. We also talked about yesterday, the first few days, the first week, the first couple weeks, if they are green, that usually indicates a green year for those individual indices or sectors in financial markets. If they're red, that indicates a red year. Russell 2000, of course, up 9% in the first 21 days of 2026. Big numbers there. In the traditional markets, people would be happy with 10% for a year. They got 9% in 21 days. But this is potentially the start of the rotation into high-risk assets such as collectibles, Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto assets, in which we all love in this ecosystem. Because why? We talk about it on a daily basis. And we're trying to find you alpha and ways to make money within these risk-on assets.
I don't know how you can look at the Russell 2000 at all-time highs, gold all-time highs, silver all-time highs, S&P all-time highs, NASDAQ all-time highs. Every asset's all-time highs minus Bitcoin, and you somehow think it's not going to go higher. That doesn't make sense to me at all. For those who don't know what the Russell 2000 is an index, a composite of 2,000 of the smaller publicly traded companies out there. These are not the household big names. It's not NVIDIA. It's not Google. It's not Apple. It's the smaller, low-cap companies out there that really only run when the market's risk on. You know, normally the Russell 2000 underperforms the big caps, right? And then it has that brief moment in the sun, not unlike alt season, where they start to outperform the big caps. So we're probably starting that outperformance. Looks like we are. I just don't know how you look at all this with Russell, with everything else that's going on, and think Bitcoin is somehow going to go lower, not higher.
There we go. We got Mark Max King saying, reminder, we have a space on X today at 7 p.m. UTC. With several great projects. We did poll on our X account about next price for Bitcoin, and most people decided 100K. So we have a lot of bulls. Remember that the bear market structure, when we were breaking out and got to 98K, the bear's like, oh shit, well, I mean, it could just run to 110,000 and then we have a head and shoulders and dump off. And we were saying the whole time since the 80K low that, hey, if we rally from 80K to 110,000, Ethereum rallies from 2,500 to 4,500, and then we can reevaluate. I think a lot of people would be happy. And if that's the bearish count, I'm happy with that as well. So 100K, I mean, we were just at 98K a week ago. Pretty crazy to think about. It's like crazy how fast people forget how quickly Bitcoin can move. And we go from 80 to 98K in a couple weeks. And now we're sitting here at 90K and everybody's like, oh my gosh, doom and gloom. Here we go. Well, now we have even a higher floor. If we decide to get even the same bullish momentum, we'll go to like 105K. And then we can reevaluate once again.
Everyone's so reactionary, right? Like price go down, oh, it's going to zero. Price go up, it's going to a million. Like, guys, no, neither of those things are true in the near term. Bitcoin said, first of all, never going to zero. It is going to a million by 2035. But my point is this, everyone is too damn reactionary. You look at, who's that guy we were talking about the other day? He's got a show on CNBC or whatever. I mean,
Jim Cramer.
Yeah, Jim Cramer. He's the poster child of this overreaction bullshit. Like, guys, calm the F down. It's not going to zero. It's also not going to $1 million tomorrow. But we are, I think, in the start of an uptrend here. All the other markets are doing really, really well. Keep DCAing like our new friends out here on the stream, DCAing. And by the way, check out the Crypto Paradise Twitter and get engaged and give us your thoughts on whether you think Bitcoin's going 100K first, 90. I forget exactly what all the options were. Smash the like, subscribe. I think there is a chance, though, Nick, that we've filtered out a lot of the bears. I don't think bears watch this show. I know we lost Hex Bear the other day because he's moved all his assets into silver. So maybe we've self-selected out the bears, and that's why everyone on the poll is being bullish.
Yeah, that is true. Hexbull did say he was getting out of crypto besides his Hex stakes and some PTGC, which we recommended for him to buy, and he's still up on that. And he's getting into silver yesterday at a price of, I think it was like $94 an ounce, $93 an ounce. So keep an eye on that. Currently, we're still there, $93.50 per ounce. So he's either up 50 cents or down 50 cents on that rotation, and we'll see how that plays out. I keep saying big mental barrier for silver is 100, and then maybe you get a blow off to 105. So far, you've hit that high of 95. and we're sitting here at 93.50. To me, that just doesn't seem like a great risk to reward ratio on silver at these price points. The 16-to-1 ratio that silver and gold normally have, silver is overpriced when you look at it that way, and this has been a massive run. There was about a decade in which you could have bought silver for $20 an ounce, and it's finally breaking out of that range. Great run, get a 4x, get a 5x, and you should probably be looking to take some money off the table if you're in there in those years. Remember, those years was 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. How do I know that? Because that's when I was a silver bug too, and I like my gold jewelry, and I got the Cougarans and the pandas and everything else. So just do that. And then my only other last advice, I've said it on the last shows, but for people tuning in, if you have silver, don't sell your collectible silver to the pawn shop. Only sell your junk silver to the pawn shop. The collectible market has things way over premium. You know, older pandas go for $200 rather than $93 an ounce. It might be silly to you, but there's collectors in every ecosystem. And when you are selling your silver, you need to make sure to get the biggest bang for your buck, because that's why you held it for a decade, right?
You know why I don't like metals? They're very easy to lose. I lost my gold necklace. That thing's probably worth like $1,000
bucks
now.
Gone.
No, it's like it's probably worth at least $1,000 because I bought it for like $600 like a year or two ago. It's probably worth $1,000 now, and it's fucking lost. That sucks. Also, I don't like not knowing the value of what I own. Like, I look at this chain, I'm like, what? How much are you worth? Like, I can't even know. Like, does this improve my net? What's my net worth now based on this fucking thing? Whereas I look at my crypto portfolio. Yeah, it fluctuates up and down a lot, but at least I know it. Same with my stocks. I know what the value is any given time, and I can sell it essentially for that price with the click of a button. But anyway, you know, if you like gold, good for you. I think the gold and silver thing, it's a bet on continued chaos emanating from the Trump administration. That's when it does well. It's a safe haven for when, oh my God, Trump is scaring me with his tweet. I happen to think Trump actually knows what the fuck he's doing. I actually think long-term he's good for the American economy. He's good for the stock market. He's good for crypto. And everyone who's reacting to his every little tweet is a big scaredy cat. So yeah, to me, it's not a good play. I believe that Trump knows what he's doing. And I think the chaos is kind of a manufactured thing in the mind of many liberals. So I'm sticking with stock market. I'm sticking with crypto. I'm not moving into safe haven gold.
Let's see what your thoughts are about Anthony Pompliano's tweet here. Obviously, we've been on the side of calling for inflation to fall off a cliff. We were right about that. We've been calling on interest rate cuts from the Fed. We were right about that. But now you're wavering due to the data saying we're not going to cut here in 5 days. But here's Anthony Pompliano's take on the new Truflation data, which is astonishing. And I see it daily or weekly, I guess, when I buy my vending machine snacks. Snacks are going down in prices, guys. Soda's going down. I'm seeing sales even on energy drinks, which were going up enormously. They were costing me like $1.85 per energy drink at my wholesale price. Now they're down to like $1.64. But here we go. Inflation is now 1.2% according to Truflation's live data. For the last year, I've been warning that deflation was a much bigger risk than inflation. The Federal Reserve completely screwed this up. They must cut rates aggressively now. Now, what do you think about this tweet? Do you think it's tongue-in-cheek? Do you think it's hyperbole? Anthony Pompliano is a big name and has got interviews with very powerful people on his shows over there. Do you think he's going too far here, or do you think he's spot on the money?
I think inflation's been vanquished. The problem is that the Fed is looking at backwards data. They're not looking at the real-time data. They're looking at a weird composite. The PCE is comprised of a bunch of weird things. But think of it logically, right? Like, we know energy prices are way, way down. We know there's less people in the country to buy stuff because we booted out like millions and millions. So, of course, inflation's going down. That's only logical. Now, sadly, the Fed data is delayed, and what they're looking at is apparently showing 2.7% inflation. I don't know where the heck that's coming from, but in any event, eventually it will show 2%, hopefully even sub 2%. Powell will be gone by then. Remember, his term is done in May. Trump will have nominated some new chairman who's going to be a dove. They really want to get this economy cranking, guys. They want to fix the housing market. They want to fix the job market. They want to get stock market to double up. They want to get crypto super high. That's obviously good for the feds, by the way, because that increases their tax revenue coming in. So it all lines up. But yeah, I know it's been frustrating. We're waiting forever. Feds delayed. I know, So Anthony's probably right here. But I guess my point is it's all going to be fine, because by the latest May, they're going to actually get someone in charge who knows what the hell they're doing.
Is there any other news, articles, charts, anything that the comment section wants us to get into? We got Dovahkiin. It says inverse Kramer is real. Once he stops giving his opinion, we will all be clueless what to do next. That is very true. If you've inversely traded Kramer, really since even the last market cycle, because he went from a rat poison crypto guy to jumping on the Ethereum bandwagon. He missed, Ethereum at 90. He got involved with Ethereum at like 1,000. He did sell it all at a good price, like 3,000, but it kept running to like 4,800. And then he's really been kind of anti-crypto ever since, besides when we have some green days. And then he's like, well, there is some good regulation coming. Maybe you should take a look. It is crazy, but, that's how he gets the views. That's how he gets the clicks. He's got a big salary. He's got a paid group, and he's killing it. So I guess you can't hate the player. You got to hate the game when it comes to that. But the inverse Kramer, hey, you've done pretty well with the inverse Kramer over the past couple of years.
Well, like I said, he's super reactionary, right? Like, he's not thinking ahead. He's just living in the moment. Like, price is down, it's going to go lower. Price is up, it's going to go higher. Like, no, dude, that's not how you make money investing. Buy things low, sell them high. So, yeah, I mean, it's entertainment, like I said yesterday. Don't take him seriously. I guess the inverse, hell, that's probably a great trading strategy, to be honest. Just inverse Kramer it. Because he's always going to be talking when assets are pumping, talking them up. So anyway, yeah, look, it's all fun. It's all fun and games. Good for Kramer. I hope you guys aren't paying too much attention to him. The best strategy is the DCA. Honestly, I really believe that. After having been in this space for a long time, maybe I'll circle back to something Nick had mentioned earlier, which is, the market's not exciting now. 10-year time horizon, so boring. Let's make money. Let's get rich quick. And trust me, I want to get richer quick too. Don't get me wrong, but you have to understand how this market works. 75% of the time, maybe even 85%.
It works every time.
The market is boring. Market ain't doing shit. Altcoins ain't doing shit. Altcoins only do well for like a very finite period of time, guys. And if you're trying to be in those trenches for all of the time, it's very, very tough. Like we've tried to force it at times. Like, all right, this pre-sale looks great, or this new project looks great, and it's like, but the liquidity conditions, the risk on it just wasn't there. There wasn't enough buyers of tokens for the thing to go up. And so you end up taking a loss or breaking even or whatever. So sometimes you just have to kind of sit back, be super patient, maybe DCA into the boring Bitcoin, Ethereums of the world, and just wait for alt season. But the point is, don't check out. Don't just leave when shit's boring. Don't leave when, it's the 80% of the time nothing's happening. Stay paying attention. Stay watching Crypto Paradise. Maybe learn something a little bit. If we bang you over the head long enough to have a 10-year time horizon, maybe you'll actually get one. Who knows?
Yeah, all this talk of DCA, I just opened up Coinbase on the tab here. I think I'm going to have to have it start a new DCA, Auto withdrawal from your account without you thinking. It could be $5 a week, $1 a week, $20 a week. Doesn't matter. Everybody's financials are different. But I guarantee if you start doing it, you'll still survive without that $20 a week. You'll figure out what you need to cut, and you probably won't be making a bad decision. If you were going to do that right now, what would be your choice for the best risk to reward? Me personally, I think if you're DCAing $20 on Coinbase, you have like 50 options. I think the smartest move would probably just do Ethereum to get you going, in my opinion.
Ethereum, I think is the best risk to reward asset out there right now. Sure, there are plenty of coins that could do better. They might do better, but they also might shit the bed and go down 90%. Because you never know, like the founder could be a transgender guy and come out and go, I'm some weird balding chick and I'm quitting tomorrow. I guess you guys have been following the Zcash story. So random alts, yes, potentially could maybe do better, but they probably won't. So ETH, to me, the best risk reward option out there. Martin, talk about BNB. Yeah, hard to argue with BNB, man. Hard to argue with BNB on that one. I think absolutely ends up probably outperforming as well as ETH, maybe even outperforming. There isn't a ton of risk there. CZ owns 64% of the supply, so that helps. Good supply control. They also do a lot of burning. So BNB is a great option. Bitcoin, can't go wrong with Bitcoin. If you don't have any Bitcoin, if you guys are in crypto and own 0 Bitcoin, I don't know what the hell you're doing. There's so many people out there. I don't own any Bitcoin. I only own Solana and memes. Come on, bro. Jesus Christ.
Let's look at it. I'll flash over to Pulse Chain real quick. Down today with the rest of the market, down about 3% across the board, 1% for Inc. So nothing much going on over there. EMIT that we've been talking about still holding. $1.83 hit as high as $1.98 yesterday. That's pretty impressive. Continues to hold strong while paying good passive income. I don't know if you've done it yet. Have you got the Crypto Paradise passive income collected and done that surf buy and burn
Absolutely.
yet?
Yeah, no, I did that last week, actually.
All right. Did we tweet
$200,
about it?
I think, worth of
Cool.
a DAI that we had earned. Used it, bought back surf, just hodling the surf. We continue to buy back surf and trying to support the chart over there, of course. Of course, we need Pulse Chain to start to outperform and alts to do well. But I think that moment will come, hopefully soonish. Like, all right, alt season's coming soon. We've been saying that for a while.
Yeah, no shit.
Hasn't really happened, but patience.
Well, and we keep saying, nothing. That's never going to happen until ETH hits 5,000. It's been 5 years since the second largest asset in cryptocurrency has been to an all-time high. That's just crazy to think about, but that's been it. I mean, you've made money with Bitcoin. You could have made money with BNB. Solana had its time in the sunshine. Could have made money there. And then you had some mini alt seasons. We had the Pepe meme season, whether it was Pepe. We did not get involved with Pepe, but we got involved with Mong and made money on that. Then you had the mini Solana meme season. We got involved with Fuck 9 to 5, made many multiples. Dubcat made many multiples. Melania made some multiples. So there was that little finite window. Then you had a little tiny base season where there was like, what was it called? Like Peach the dog. And there was Frank the Tank or whatever that was. But you just had such finite moments. And then most recently, the biggest meme cycle we had ever was 3 days over on Binance. And we made some money on that, but you're caught holding the bag on the rest. Hopefully you took profits with us, but you just haven't had any time to make good due diligence, good education, and really get into projects that are going to sustain and be here for cycles to come and actually make a difference in the crypto market. We have not had that alt season since the last time ETH was at all-time highs 5 years ago.
We're working on it. We're working on finding some gems for you guys. I'm on calls with a lot of projects each and every week. Newer projects, building some really damn good products, some exciting products in the prediction market side, meme coin speculation, meme coin kind of like leverage platform. I mean, there's a lot of fun projects that have a lot of potential. We haven't really presented any to the Surf DAO yet because they're still early days. Market hasn't really been aligned with investing in early stage projects as we've seen, but we're still working hard to find some good stuff for you guys. Obviously, we all want that 100x on the meme. Of course we do. I just philosophically believe that everyone in crypto should at least own a little bit of Bitcoin. I don't care. You don't have to own a ton of it. Why not just own a little? How do you? That's the problem. That's the problem with this industry. I think we've lost the belief in what it all stands for and just went straight to the casino. And when that's what the industry becomes, it kind of just, first of all, leaves an ugly taste in your mouth. Second of all, it's no surprise that there's so many scams and all that stuff, people losing money left and right. Is that what we really want this industry to become? What happened to the, belief in decentralization, sovereignty of your own money, being anti-fiat, all those things that I think are very inspirational. Hold a little bit of Bitcoin just to have that kind of in the back of your mind as something you believe in.
I think that's a good point to end it on today, I think. We're still watching gold here. Gold's one of the few things up green today, up 0.4%, $19 per ounce to $4,852. There is the running vote. What hits 5,000 first? Gold, which is only $150 away, or Ethereum, which is $2,000 away. But if you ran the actual numbers, it's probably about the same in terms of market capitalization to get that same move.
Yeah, crazy to see gold still running. I wonder, did Trump tweet something to scare people again? I don't know what happened this morning, but it felt
still
like
off the highs. I mean, it's 4,852. We saw the high yesterday or 2 days ago at $4,890. So
there you go. Okay, so it's just rebounding a little bit, but yeah, I think we're gonna come upon a time here pretty soon where gold loses its luster a little bit because everyone stops freaking out about whatever macro story is going on, and they stop running to safe haven gold and they say, okay, well, it's time to move into the stock market, risk assets. That's where the outperformance is. We haven't seen the rotation yet. in a meaningful way. I guess we've gotten it here and there, and that's when Bitcoin's bounced and rebounded at times. But we're not going to live in this permanent state of let's run to safe haven gold, right? At least I certainly hope not, because I don't own any. In fact, well, I do own some, but I lost it. So there you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Farmer Frank.
This guy remembers. That was the one.
Who's Dovikin? What's your Twitter Telegram account, man? I'm sure we know who you are, but I don't know your YouTube. Farmer Franks. There you go.
Yeah, that one we did about, I think, 2, 3, 4 positive trades on it, and you could stake it to earn Ethereum, which we were able to collect 2 or 3 times as well. And then, like the base meme season, it kind of went down, and they just closed up shop. And, we had some Farmer Frank still locked up, but we were taking profits on the trades and only putting back in the underlying. So profits off, getting the underlying, staking that. We got ETH 2 or 3 times, and then everything closed up shop, things seem to do when the market isn't trending in the right direction.
Yeah, lessons there, I'm sure. It's good memory. Apparently now we got Iran FUD to deal with. Look at that. So Greenland FUD resolved. New set of FUD to deal with. Okay, I guess this is the world we're living in, folks. So hopefully nothing comes of that. I thought the Iran FUD was like 2 weeks ago. That's done. I haven't seen that story come back. But who knows? Who knows what's going on now? So we'll have to look at the news. Probably have a call to get to, so we should wrap things up for today. Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for jumping in. Dovekin and all our new viewers. By the way, Spaces in about 2.5 hours, something like that, 3.5 hours. So don't forget to join up on our Spaces on X. And until then, guys, we'll see you on the beat.